Bro from Nerdist, but I'm also a huge Hannibal. Are there any other Hannibal fans in the crowd today? Louder so all the studios in the building can hear us. It's so amazing that nearly 10 years after its last episode, for now, aired, Hannibal can still fill the room at New York Comic Con. So without further ado, let's introduce our dinner guests of honor, Hugh Dancy and Mads Mikkelsen. Welcome. Excuse me, let's get that Wrath of the Lamb happening.
That's for later.
Okay, for later. This is like your fourth.
So many phones. It's amazing.
And there are people behind the phones. I got it.
There's like 3,000 people in this room right now. This is like your fourth sold-out audience in 6 months. We could have been filming season 4 here in the Cannels. How does it feel?
Yeah, as you can tell, we are looking for work.
I love it.
Feels great. It's a big room. It's a lot of people and a lot of phones, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of maybe good questions, a lot of questions for sure.
Yes, all of them coming from me today. So very exciting. Cool, let's get into it. So looking back to when you were first creating Will and Hannibal, aside from the Hannibal versions that are out there, did you have any real life or fictional inspirations for your characters?
Well, yes, I did. There's a book, I'm trying to remember the guy's name now, but he was kind of the creator of behavioral science, right? And I think he actually also almost died from encephalitis, and Thomas Harris stole that. So yeah, and he subsequently wrote a book about his experiences, which was very helpful.
Amazing.
So there you go.
And was there any kind of inspiration for like the look and feel of Will, or did that all come from
Brian Fuller, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian was also Hannibal.
Yeah, I read the Bible and looked at the fallen angel, Gabriel. And that was pretty much it.
Amazing. Cool. So do you think that Hannibal's relationship with Will made him more human throughout the series than when he was at the beginning before we met him?
You think it's human what he's doing to Will?
I think that maybe Will inspires more human feelings in Hannibal,
No, but
not that Hannibal treats Will.
It's a long-lost friend. It is a long-lost brother. He sees a partner in crime for sure. And if that makes him look more human, it says a lot about you guys, but I'll take it.
Amazing. And conversely, do you think Hannibal made Will sort of almost less human as the show went on?
I mean, again, we're talking really small increments. Less human, no, because he's not doing great at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he eats some people eventually. But yeah, no, I don't think either of them are very like high on the human scale.
But do you think their sort of relationship together?
You're just going to keep going until we tell you.
Okay. Amazing. So, what is Will's opinion of cannibalism by the time season 3 rolls around?
His opinion of it?
Yeah.
Like not his feelings about it, but his opinion about it.
His feelings, yeah.
Less is more?
Amazing. So Will and Hannibal tried to kill each other several times throughout the series. If either one of them had actually succeeded, how do you think they would have felt afterwards?
Well, Will might have got a promotion. I mean, that's it's at least my job. But then he would probably have had a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah.
I think neither of them are like wholeheartedly going for it.
Okay.
I can for sure say if Hannibal wanted Will dead, he would be dead. I have a hunch it will be the same the other way around.
Is that so?
I think that's a very good answer.
And it's also beautiful. Wasn't it beautiful? You sick fucks.
You love it. As you've mentioned before, Hannibal is one of your happier characters, but he did feel he had his heart broken a few times throughout this series. What do you think his worst moment of heartbreak was?
The worst moment?
For Hannibal.
I would say the betrayal when he finds a ginger-colored hair on Will's shoulder. Then he does the math.
It's not betrayal.
That's a betrayal. Have you not seen it? All right. What was the question? The question was.
That was the question.
That was the question, and that was the answer then.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be it. Yeah.
The worst moment. And Hugh, when Will was helping Hannibal fake escape at the end of season 3, what do you think he was kind of thinking would happen next?
Season 4. I don't think he really knew what was going to happen next. I just think he wasn't happy with the way things were going.
That makes a lot of sense. So, Maz, you've spoken a little bit about Hannibal's final scene, and there's sort of discussion that Brian has shared too about how you all almost kissed in some of the takes.
You can't afford that.
For charity.
I simply couldn't understand the question. Can you whisper?
Yes, the question, we didn't actually get to it because the crowd went wild. What do you think took you all there in that moment? And like, if you could have another take, would you have tried it out?
Oh, at the very end in the third season?
Yeah.
I think it was because of you guys. You were pushing it all the time. We had nothing to do with it. No, I think that was it. It's better to indicate something than to actually do it, so it can make people's imagination go crazy. But I would say that I can see what you mean when you see the finale, right? Mm-hmm. But we didn't think about it when we did it. We got carried away. Let's put it that way.
Amazing. I'm sort of in the same vein. Is there any scene that you might have wanted to go back and try a little differently?
As an actor, you always think that.
Yeah, and then some of them we did. I mean, that's the way Brian writes it. You find, didn't we shoot this scene like 2 seasons ago? And I feel like I was in this kitchen before, so we kind of did.
Yeah.
But no, there were no scenes that I would like to redo.
I would like to go and revisit the last episode of season 2. Mm-hmm. Not to do something different, just to enjoy it once again. It is a big moment for the cleaning man.
Yes, it's a fun moment for us all. Cool, well, you've been at quite a few cons now and spoken to many fans. Has anything a fan said to you about Will or Hannibal resonated with you or like made you think of the character in new and interesting ways?
It's more the way that people talk about it's affected them or been significant in moments in their lives, and that's a lot to take on, because obviously it's not something you're aware of or thinking about when you're making the show, and then years later somebody says, it meant this to me, and it's kind of astonishing, and that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the sense of belonging has become a key word. Yeah. These two characters are somehow in the outskirts of society, and they find each other in a strange combination of where they at least can find a path through life, right? And it seems as if that has hit a home mark at a lot of people who, the sense of belonging has been very important to a lot of people, which is fantastic that a TV show can help people out with.
Absolutely. For everyone. Should there be a season 4, what do you think is one thing Hannibal would love to do?
Hannibal?
Yeah. Or you?
Yeah, he would love to kill someone and then eat them.
What? That's crazy.
That's on his bucket list.
I think Will would just like to figure out who's doing all this killing and eating.
Amazing. And what do you think Will and Hannibal's favorite books or movies are? We've talked a little bit about music before.
But Will's would be some like fishing instructional manual. I don't think he's seriously, it's probably about as far as it goes. I think in Red Dragon, in the book, Thomas Harris says his possessions were a bunch of fishing tackle and a case of wine.
Yeah, obviously the Old Testament will be inspiring, and Dante's Inferno is obviously, he's mentioning it a lot.
It's a very big, very pretentious library.
It is very pretentious, yeah. But he's also into music. I mean, anything that is high quality and very difficult to understand, he will be on the case.
So you think Hannibal is sitting up in bed reading the Bible?
What's that?
He's sitting in bed reading the Bible?
Sure.
An audio book. He has a lot to do.
That is true.
Awesome. And I'm just going back to the idea of season 4. Is there anything you as actors would have wanted to get to do in the schema of Hannibal?
I think Brian would probably have been stealing stuff from some of the later Thomas Harris books, right? I don't know, I can't remember how much, I'm sure we've said all of this before, but there was an idea of a kind of reversal of season 1. Mm-hmm. So season 1 kind of ending in sickness and confusion, and starting from that place at the beginning of season 4, and then kind of unraveling it and unpicking it.
And I believe there were some discussions of getting his hands on Silence of the Lamb.
Yeah.
Somehow. Was there not?
Yeah, but also in Hannibal, when when Hannibal has Clarice and is kind of brainwashing her, right? Am I getting that right?
Yes.
Thank you. I should make this stuff up. And then there's the incredible scene in the helicopter when, no. Yeah, when he's kind of got her and he's brainwashing her and he's kind of rewiring her. I think he was interested in exploring that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we would love to see that still. And so, as we sort of move from Hannibal to more general questions about y'all, what has been your favorite memory so far from this Hannibal contour?
Yeah, but they're not memories anymore because we keep bumping into each other, right? But it would be the people. I mean, it is rare for actors. You do a theater thing or you do a film. It's over after a while. But this lasted 3 years, and I know that a lot of people have done TV shows that last longer than that. But I hadn't. I don't know about you. And it just becomes family. You're glued together whether you like it or not. Right? And so many friendships and so many fantastic actors who came and visited us, directors that I've never met again, but I would love to meet again one day. Yeah.
Amazing. So looking back on all of your past performances, and we can definitely include Hannibal in that, what is the most fun scene that you filmed in any of your projects?
In any project?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I actually just wrapped up a film by a director called Anders Thomas Jensen. And the film, it has a working title. Danish is called The Last Viking. Over here I think it's called Back to Reality, which is a shit title. We'll have to check that. But I did a scene with a good friend of mine, and I did a stunt that I thought was so funny. And maybe I'm the only one who thinks it's funny, but it was, that's probably the funniest thing I've ever done. I laughed a lot. You better laugh.
Can you share anything else about?
Yeah, there's a window. There's something with a window and something falling out of a window. And there's dialogue and stuff, and that's fun.
Okay. We definitely look forward to seeing you tumble out
See
the
it in a
window.
theater near you.
Shit title,
Yeah.
vague stunt.
That's the log line.
That's the pitch, right there.
Do you have one?
I played a cult leader for a while and had some kind of the scenes where you're addressing the cult were kind of fun because they were just permission to act in essentially quite selfish.
Does this remind you of that at all?
Not in the slightest. There's literally no comparison between this experience and that.
But actually, since this is a Hannibal panel, what was the most fun scene you had shooting in Hannibal?
You know, obviously we've answered that question before, and I think we usually say, which is probably true, the end of season 2, because it was a kind of epic scene, and it lasted all night. It was just, and it
But let's get creative.
goes through so many different. But I was thinking the other day about actually the scene at the end of season 1 when we're in Garrett Jacob Hobbs's kitchen, and then it kind of turns and it dawns on me, like, you know, that I'm pointing the gun in the wrong direction. That was pretty great to film as well. I remember feeling like oh, okay, it feels like a cap on it. It feels like a summation of that whole season.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, what's the doctor's name that checks you out for the encephalitis thingy? What's his name? Sutcliffe. Right. Crazy name. Yeah, so apparently somebody kills him and opens up his mouth from here to there. And so that was a dummy of that, and he was on set for a good couple of days.
Yeah, and I had worked with him on another job and then didn't see him on that. I just walked onto set and saw his head.
Let's put it this way, we had a lot of fun with that dummy. It was extremely flexible. So that was a fun day, yeah.
That dummy needs to go on tour. Hugh, incredibly, this is the 20th anniversary of Ella Enchanted, which the people love. So I have to ask the burning question that's on everybody's mind. Do you still remember that ending dance?
I mean, it wasn't very elaborate, was it?
Not very.
I think they made it very simple, mostly for me. No, but I probably could figure it out. There's like a bit of this.
Yes.
That's what
I think it was like. Anyway,
okay.
we won't make you do it. We could.
So yeah, so what you're aiming at, you want to see him dance?
You want to see me dance?
I mean, you do. Maz, you're the dancer. Do you want to give it a shot? It's like
do
this,
I wanna,
this.
Do I want to see Hugh dance?
No, do you want to dance since you're the dancer?
No, I'm a private dancer, a dancer for money.
Amazing. Well, we got this. That's great. Maz, we recently got a look at your performance as Kyros in Mufasa, the Lion King. What did you think of seeing your lion counterpart come to life?
Well, I haven't seen the entirety yet. It was like one of these working processes where we come in, they have some stuff animated, we do some stuff, they go back and animate more, and they bring us in and we redo it again and again over a span, I guess, of 3 years or something.
Wow.
So I haven't seen the final product, and I can't wait.
Oh,
what
well.
I have seen so far looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, the trailer is out, and
Yep.
you're in it, so you
Yep.
can see your final lion form
Yeah.
in the trailer.
And I play a good guy here.
Ooh.
They like
A
to-
real good guy? How did you sort of settle on what your lion voice would sound like?
Well, I chain smoked a lot, so I made my voice lion rusty. And that was my method.
30 years of prep.
30 years of prep.
You're committed
No, I
to
mean
your
it was.
craft.
It's obviously it's well written. It's fun to see this. You allow yourself to do something extreme with your voice when you see these animated things up on the screen, stuff you would never have done in a film yourself. But there's a certain freedom to bring voice to a creation. Have you tried it?
I have, and then you do it and you think, oh, like you say, there's a certain freedom, and then you think, oh God, I hope that's true.
Right.
Because what I just did was I would never do
No,
on
exactly.
screen. But hopefully
but
the
they
animation will be great.
But they also often have a camera of us doing it, and then you're lying on all four, doing really shitty acting. But eventually, hopefully, the voice will come out right. Yeah, that's the idea.
What's the funniest thing you did in the booth to get it right?
I can't remember. I did once do for Monsters Inc. I did a voice, a Danish version of Monsters Inc. And I did the one, I can't remember the character, Randall.
You remembered.
And that was Steve Buscemi who did it, right? And then when we done it the first time, so his laugh is obviously, it's a bad guy laugh, right? And they called me back because my laugh was too scary. And I was like, but you got Steve Buscemi. What's going on? I mean, so yeah, I had apparently smoked too much for that part.
I'd love to hear this terrifying laugh.
Yeah.
At some point.
Just have to make an animated movie.
That's right. So you both have some background in theater. Is there a dream role you'd love to perform on stage?
Nope.
Perfect. Great. And are there any...
We have a lot of questions, so...
Are there any live performances in your future right now? Anything in the works?
Not really. I'm doing a reading of something in the next couple of months, I think, but that's about it.
Amazing. Anything for you, Maz?
No, I just wrapped this film, so I'm also reading a little and figuring out what's the future gonna bring. Dust Bunny, but that's wrapped as well. So Dust Bunny, hopefully, as far as I know, will come out this spring. Is that what I'm hearing? Brian followed Dust Bunny, yes.
We'll call Brian and get confirmation. Hugh, you've been crushing it in Law and Order. Is there anything you can tease about what's next for Nolan?
Lots and lots of murders.
That's new.
Actually, I think they're trying to open it up a bit because the structure of that show is so familiar, let's say, and kind of unbending, and I think they're trying to crack it open just a little bit. So, for example, I think we're going to meet a member of my family, which was verboten until recently. So, yeah.
Are they needing a cannibal?
Ooh.
I mean, I'll pitch it.
Yes, well, I'll pitch it right now.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Never know.
We'd be in. Is there anything up next for you, performance-wise, that's coming out that you're excited about or that you can share?
No, I mean, as I said, I haven't really made up my mind about the future. I'm just chilling out and trying to recover and survive the film I just wrapped. And so, no, I can't really, I don't know. I don't have a job. Give me a job.
Hannibal season 4. Well, we could do it we could do it sort of in chapters on the stage at these cons.
Yeah,
we
sure.
could just do line
Bits and pieces. We'll make it work.
Hugh, anything?
I'm filming Law and Order at the moment, and so that's great. That keeps me here with my family, which is fantastic. I didn't say...
So, family is so cute.
I have a family. We're both going to Tokyo, so it's, without our families. But, yeah.
The world tour now, we love that. And so that's the future. But looking back at the past, do you remember the first role you ever acted in?
Professionally, that somebody paid me.
Or if it's funny and interesting, not.
If it's funny.
And interesting.
Oh, right. I can't guarantee any of it was, certainly the first things I got paid for were not funny or interesting. The first job I ever did was something called Trial and Retribution Part 2. Really? That's astonishing. Yeah, it was just, starting out in British TV, episodic TV, like bits and pieces here and there. And you,
Yeah, professionally, yeah, of course we remember the first thing. But the first thing I ever did, I think, as an actor, I was asked to be in one of these little, what do you call it, film school tests, where the director has a certain assignment. And I was playing a boxer together with a friend of mine. We were boxers. And I had a girlfriend, and he fell in love with my girlfriend, and I got jealous, stuff like that. Really exciting stuff. But I remember the first line I had. So we're sitting there, and he's sitting there, and somebody's holding this big boom, which is a microphone. And I had to ask him if he had seen Tina. And I just went like this. I said, "Have you seen Tina?" Loud and clearly into the mic. Everybody on the set, cracked down laughing. And I remember vividly that day, if I ever continue acting, I will mumble so hard from now on. And nobody has an idea what I'm saying. And I stuck to that.
Amazing, yes, a round of applause. But had anybody seen Tina?
What's that?
Did anybody see Tina?
We never saw Tina.
We never saw her.
What's your shit line?
So Maz, you're known for your micro expressions in acting, like the tiny snarl Hannibal gives when he's angry. Is that something that has come naturally to you, or did you train to sort of
The tiny, what, snow?
snarl, like when he's just raises the edge of his lip?
I have never thought of it. Does he do that? I have to watch it. Is it good?
It's good. We could all watch it together.
Yeah.
Have a
No, I don't.
watch.
I haven't thought about that. I mean, Hannibal. It's obviously it's very small means he's using to a great effect, right? And so I think that is part of his character. He's very underplayed in many ways, and that's also why he can stay hidden that long, I guess.
Absolutely. So for both of you, how do you typically approach a new role when you start it?
I don't think I have a typical approach. I mean, hopefully talking to the people you're going to be working with, right? Sitting with it for a while, figure it out, learn your lines well. It's amazing how often that doesn't seem to happen. Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the same. I mean, the script is the Bible. That's where everything starts.
Always the Bible.
Everything's the Bible.
We love
the
the
Bible
Bible
is the Bible.
today.
The Bible is the Bible.
Yeah, as well. No, but that's where everything starts, and all the questions comes from the script, and that's basically where you carry on your arm throughout the process. That's where all the questions, all the answers are in, and if we can improve it, we are trying. If it's perfect, we just have to man up and shoot it, right?
Absolutely. And just out of curiosity, when you are building your characters, do you think a lot about everything they might do or their preferences or things like that, or do you just sort of stick to what is happening in the script?
No, you think around, outside the edges, right? Just to make sure it's coherent and the person is cohesive. But then it depends what it is. I mean, if you're doing something very naturalistic, sure, you probably want to think about how this person lives their life. But I mean, if you start asking those questions too deeply about, say, Hannibal, you might hit some awkward questions, just in terms of time management or the amount of blood a human body can hold. So it depends on the project and the tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a style, there's a genre to every project, and you have to understand that framework. That doesn't mean that you will not, and you have to approach it to a degree where it's believable, but the framework can be so insane that a lot of insane things can be believable. So you have to understand that framework before you, if you start arguing with the framework, it will be a long day.
Yes. So for Hannibal, is there anything that you thought about for Will and Hannibal that maybe we didn't see clearly on the screen, just that you knew about them?
I think we were more surprised than we planned, because Brian kept surprising us where this story was going. And there was absolutely no reason to back down or say no, because it was always super interesting. And so It's one of the most surprising things I've ever done as an actor. I literally didn't know what the next episode would be.
Well, right, because it was coming at us thick and fast, mostly the day before we filmed it.
That as well.
So it was not by design, ironically.
Cheeky.
But as far as like Hannibal's favorite breakfast food is waffles, or Will likes woolen socks. Did you like imagine anything about your characters? I'm just curious.
That's how did you know?
He seems like the type.
I mean, this is probably terrible, but I don't remember. I mean, maybe we had those thoughts, maybe had those conversations with Brian. I mean, so I remember at the beginning, like I said, thinking about, okay, what this job is. Like, because you're trying to, as Maz was saying, locate it in something that's believable, right? That makes sense. So thinking about that job and what it means to be fascinated by this particular type of crime, and then realizing that was only going to be 30% of the show, but I only realized that when he gave us the second episode. You know, okay, you know. So then you go off in that direction.
Yeah. Cool. Is there any franchise or world that you haven't been able to join yet that you're fans of that you would love to be a part of?
I thought you were just going to say to Maz, is there any franchise in the world you haven't been part of?
Also fair.
Star Trek.
Ooh.
And I would not like to go. But I think I've answered that before. I'm a huge fan of zombies and therefore Walking Dead.
Yes. And there's so many Walking Dead shows.
I know it's been running for a long time and it will be repetitive, I guess. But there's something cool about killing zombies. There's also something really cool about being a zombie, so I can't make up my mind what I want to play.
Well, you could begin as a zombie killer, then turn into a zombie.
Yeah.
Have your cake and eat it.
But do they survive for a long time? The zombies, do they have their own screen time?
You could be the first zombie.
That's what I'm talking about. Could be
The weirdest lead role ever.
or the saddest zombie ever.
Well, I don't know if you've seen Fallout at all, but there's kind of a zombie-esque character there.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
And you can throw some kung fu in there as well. I'm good.
So you're a not zombie kung fu lead. We got it.
Bit of rom-com.
Of course. Zombie love.
Yeah. Actually, didn't somebody just make a zombie rom-com? I think that's been done.
Yeah.
What hasn't been done? Hugh?
What's that?
Do you have any franchise or worlds that you are a fan of that you would love?
I'm busy reading, well, not busy, I wouldn't say. I'm reading one of my kids, the Harry Potter books again. We keep, well, not we keep, but we have more children, and then you end up reading the books again. So it's like the third time. And they're obviously remaking them, right? It's a TV series. So occasionally I do find myself thinking, God, my characterization of this is pretty good, you know. I think I've got something here.
Is that the very young version of
Well, then
Harry?
you realize that your only audience is a 6-year-old. Obviously the reviews are pretty good.
Do you do the voices?
Tape it next time.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'd audition for everybody.
So you do the voices when you're reading it?
Of course. Yeah.
Of course. I was chatting with somebody. Have you ever or thought about Doctor Who at all?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't grow up like being a great fan of Doctor Who. Not that I didn't like it. It just wasn't something that I watched much. But yeah, it's absolutely.
If the pair of you could make...
I'd like to play one of those half human, half cyborg, whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah, an alien. Or
Sure.
the Doctor.
I don't know. I mean, yes. Why am I saying no? Absolutely not. Not like...
Amazing. If the pair of you could make another movie together, what genre would you imagine?
Well, that would be a Danish film.
Yeah.
We established that last time.
I'd like to hear him say in Danish, a fragile little teacup. I'd like to see him get away with that shit.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Be a weird movie.
Yeah.
A Hannibal remake in Danish is Is that what we're getting at?
I mean, if we were writers, we would have ideas, or producers. The beauty, one of the beauties of our job is that somebody else has an ambition, and when we get offered that ambition, it becomes our ambition. So we're in the mercy of somebody else's fantasy, and but if I would like to work with Hugh again, absolutely.
Of course. On Hannibal season 4. So looking back on your oohs, is there a scene that sticks out to you that you think is just like, I really nailed that?
Sorry, say that again?
Is there a scene in any of the movies or shows that you've done that you think about and you're really proud of it? Like you think that was it, a great one?
Don't say no.
No, don't do it.
No, I was thinking like there's kind of too many. It's embarrassing. No, I mean, listen, like Matt said earlier, there's often so many moments when you're filming and you come away from it and you think, oh, you're filming it out of order, you don't know how it's going to land, you're not in control of the edit, and you think, oh, I could have done, did I lean too heavily into this, did I heavily into that? And every so often, you come away thinking, that felt great.
Yeah.
Or something, actually, usually the feeling is something, I got ready for that, and then something happened in that scene that I didn't anticipate, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go and name check them all, but it doesn't happen that frequently, so you can kind of remember it when it does.
Did that happen in Hannibal?
Sure.
Is there one you could name check?
Well, I mean, it's boring to keep coming back to the same thing, but the end of season 2, it was like I don't think any of us, we knew what the scene was on paper, right? But then it kind of opened up into so many different moments. Again, that moment of turning the gun on Mads at the end of season 1 felt like that too. Absolutely.
No, it's got to be repetitive. It is what it is.
Not just
Bible.
No, nobody. And funny enough, when you do land something and you felt that was it, and the director feels that, the cameraman feels that, doesn't necessarily turn out to be that one.
That's right.
It's something else that will surprise you that turned out to be very interesting. So, but but sometimes we're right as well.
Amazing. Is there a performance or role of yours that you'd love to see more fans discover?
It's funny, I feel like you're just inviting us to congratulate ourselves in different ways. I don't know. I made a movie in Rwanda called Shooting Dogs in England and Beyond the Gates in America for some reason. Another bizarre change of title. Actually, I know why it's a change of title, because somebody in America said, basically, we don't shoot dogs. Right. Actually, what they said was, we'll call this movie Shooting Humans before we call it Shooting Dogs. All right, wow. That's a strange priority. But yeah, and that was mostly because it was you know how it is. You make a movie and you have an incredible experience, and it bears no relation to like the success or the size of the movie's audience, but it was very meaningful for me. So sure, there you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
There's also movies I wish nobody would watch. I have a good list.
Got a few of those. I think that slowly but gradually, after I've been doing more international stuff, people have gone back and discovered some of my Danish stuff. So I'm not going to sit and whine about that people don't watch Danish films, because they are. And especially the last 10 years, Danish film has really been traveling a lot. So I'm not... but there are things. There are obviously some of the old things. I would have been nice more people watched it, but that's the way it is. It's out there somewhere.
It sure is. Has there been any advice in your career that you've received that's really stayed with you?
Get a good accountant.
And a lawyer?
May we all need that advice.
No. Maybe not.
Not really. No, the things about advice is that you put us on the spot, you can't remember it, but it will dawn us in a certain situation. It's like, do you have a funny anecdote? No. And then when you go home, you go, yes, that was that one. Damn. So it's not, I mean, Lawrence Fishburne told me after a few weeks, to pull myself up by the, what do you call it?
The bootstrap?
Yeah, kind of, in a more subtle way. Because I had the first scene with him, and he had seen a lot of my Danish work, and he got surprised that I was, it didn't feel as if it was my office. And I totally agreed. I was on thin ice in the first 2 weeks doing the show for many reasons. And he just, after the first take, he stopped and he said, "Has come with me," and he went out for a cigarette and he said, "Listen, I've seen you act for the past 15 years. This is your office. Why do you behave as if it's somebody else's office? Why? Don't listen to the DOP. Don't listen to the light guys who I used to stand and sit. Do your thing. You're the boss of your room." And that was a very, very healthy advice for me, because obviously it's Hannibal. He knows where the body is hidden, right? As a matter of expression.
Unless he's forgotten.
So no, that was a super good advice, because I forgot about that. I'm normally very good at saying this is my room once we start shooting. I've totally forgotten it when we started doing Hannibal. So I should thank him, and I have thanked him. Yeah.
Thank you, Lawrence. Amazing. Halloween's coming up. Do you all have any costume plans?
Zombie. No, I don't have.
I'm making costumes for my kids right now.
So am I.
You don't know what I'm making. So that is my. Essentially, I'll be leaving here and just going to my basement.
Oh.
But you don't know what's in my basement. Is it what? No, neither of them are scary costumes. It's not Harry Potter. No.
We're never going to know.
I think you should mention one of them you told me yesterday, and I want to see how to get away with that costume.
You mean the eldest? Yeah. Well, it's true. That's kind of Hannibal related. Okay, I guess I can. So yeah, my eldest son he wants to go as chopped liver. The notion being that when people say, "What are you?" he can say, "What am I? Chopped liver?" Which is, it turns out, going to be an awful lot of work for a pretty good gag. Which will last obviously for about an hour, and then it'll go in the closet, and that'll be the end of that.
That's very punny. So working with Brian was certainly a unique experience, now one that you've experienced twice. How is it different working with him on Hannibal, like a big series, and on a feature film?
Well, when we did the film was written. That was one of the big differences, right? And the TV show, as Hugh mentions, it's currently moving on. It's a process, and we would literally go to bed and get 5 new pages for tomorrow, 5 new scenes, like ding, ding, ding. You can sleep or you can learn your text, your choice. And that was not the case here. So we were a bit more on top of the whole thing here. But then we went away to a foreign country, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and a lot of it did go wrong. But it was he's just a brilliant man to work with. His visions, as I said about the framework, it's a different universe when you work with Brian, and you have to understand that. And he was very lucky to pick people around him who understood his universe. So crossing my finger that it comes across.
And is there anything further you can tease about Dust Bunny or the world of it?
There's a bunny. I'm not allowed to say anything.
Not allowed to say.
I'm not allowed to say anything. But hopefully there will be a trailer soon, and then I can talk about the trailer.
That would be amazing, and hopefully we will get to experience that together soon. Amazing. So Sorry. In Hannibal, there's obviously like a lot, as you were saying, of new pages coming every day. What was like the toughest piece of text that you ever had to learn?
Well, I can't remember it. When you learn it that fast, it also disappears really fast. Yeah. But I was jumping around in different languages and also into the art world, and a lot of specific terms in Hungarian, and it was just you're just basically learning stuff phonetically, and you look as if you know what you're talking about. So that was, yeah, Hannibal faked it a lot. Let's put it that way.
It's a funny description of acting. Yeah, just blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but that, he's everything has to be fine taste. Everything is leveled, right? So what I was dealing with was stuff I had literally never heard about before, constantly, right?
Yeah.
And I would ask my dialect coach, and she would go, "Don't ask me. I have no clue what's going on here." Right? It's okay, fair enough. So I'll just sit and Google everything. Right?
There was a line about a roller coaster. I mean, obviously it wasn't literally about a roller coaster. It was like an analogy of and I can't honestly remember what the line was.
That's true.
But I remember delivering it, and then Lawrence saying, "Oh yeah, I recognize that line." He tried to have me say that line, and I said, "No, I'm not saying that line." So then Brian had just like hung on to it, and I have a feeling for a while he'd like tried to like, you know, maybe Hannibal would say, no. So then he just made me say it.
Right. You see, Lawrence gave you advice as well.
Yeah.
Don't say yes. Don't say it.
Lawrence is the fount of advice on the Hannibal set, it seems. Hugh, did you ever imagine or desire like a big fight scene for Will?
I mean, yeah, I don't know that it would have made so much sense. You know, I mean, it made sense for Lawrence just because he's Lawrence.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, like, he can do that so well. Same with Maz, right? He's done a lot of it. But also, it kind of, in the world of that Brian imagined, it just kind of made sense that they would have this epic battle. I don't think it really made sense for Will. That's not how he's fighting his battles. It's more up here.
Yeah, absolutely. Were there any sort of deleted scenes that you ever shot that didn't kind of make it to the main?
I mean, there were a bunch of scenes that Brian saw and then said, well, we're not putting that in the show. And then we reshot them. He did, in the first season in particular, he did a lot of reshaping, right? I think he kind of reimagined the shape of the whole season about halfway through. So what was I can't remember the details, but what was episode 4 got gutted and turned into episode 7. I mean, I'm making up the numbers, right? But I think he wanted to delay the kind of reveal. So we revisited a lot of things and scrapped them. But I don't think there was a lot that was just like, well, you saw the outtakes, obviously.
Sure.
It's them.
And so nothing major sort of changed from like that you saw. Cool. And how do you feel your perceptions of Will and Hannibal evolved from like when you began to when you finished? Did anything you thought about them really change?
Probably. I mean, almost certainly, right? As we were saying, because Brian was not reimagining it, but expanding it and shaping it as he went on. Right? So we had to the beginning, like the bare minimum. I mean, he was a cannibal, and I was worked for the FBI. It was about where we started. So yeah, for sure. But then when you look back, it's hard to remember where you started from.
And where would you say you ended?
In the sea.
Fair enough.
Probably.
Ooh. Because then the helicopter.
I mean, that's right, but the famous helicopter scene from the later Thomas Harris novels. But, yeah.
Well, you want me to add something?
Oh.
Well,
if you'd like.
I'll say the same as this guy. Well, obviously he's on a journey that is surprising, and it's like this is a journey where you have to ask a lot of questions as an actor. How do we get from A to B to C, eventually ending up here? Hannibal is not like that. Hannibal is he's maneuverable in a different way, right? Whatever it takes for him to get his way, he will do it. That also means that he will behave in a certain way, he will do certain things, he will look in a certain way in order to get what he wants. So that nothing can really surprise me as an actor when it turns up on the next episode. It's like, yeah, Hannibal will do that probably, right? Where the classical way of developing a character is obviously something Hugh went through as an actor, right? And it's quite a development, I would say. Hannibal, not so much. He's, as I said, the fallen angel. He's out to get what he wants, and whatever it takes, he will do it.
So do you think he changed at all from the start to the end of the show?
Well, he changes constantly. He's a chameleon constantly.
But in like a base way?
No, I think we really worked hard of making him human, in the sense that he has empathy. He just chooses when to have it. Whereas he has empathy and he has no control over it, right? So it should not be empty emotions from Hannibal's side. It should be true and honest, but he's also in control of them, as opposed to Will.
Absolutely. And so we're reaching the last few minutes of our time. And we'll, at the end, I'll take a big picture together. But as a final question, we talked a little bit about it, but is there anything, in previous conventions, but is there anything you feel that like you were able to add to Will and Hannibal when you were performing them?
I mean, I hope so.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But that you feel like you were like, that's, aha, I suggested this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the understanding of what, look, Brian, it's very basic. You know, we had the scripts as stated with the Bible. They kept coming, they kept developing, but that's where we were working from. But then, you know, beyond that, there was a sense of particularly the relationship between these two guys that we were figuring out beyond that and the specifics of it. And in there's the lines, but just also in I mean, just really basic stuff in the blocking, in the shaping of it, in the development of it. So yeah, of course we were contributing to that. And Brian is collaborative, and I mean, I've talked about this before. I remember both of us did this at different times. Like, we were trying to figure out what the hell we're doing, so we would write him slightly panicky emails. Like, you know, basically, the subtext was always, "Please, can I have the script?" But you'd write these emails, like, you know, disguised as a character discussion, and then you get the script the next day, and you're like, "Wait, I wrote that line in my email last night," and because you're trying to kind of get through to Brian on his level, right? You use his language, which is heightened, and then he'd think, because he'd be like, "I'll have that." And then you're saying it. I guess that's a type of collaboration.
Absolutely. Do you remember a line like that, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, there's a line in the art gallery but I can't remember the details of it, saying something like, it's like every crime you've ever committed or every murder. That was just one of those panicky emails to Brian.
That's amazing.
There's a line about being like, words are like pack animals or something. Yeah. That was something dumb I said to Brian while I was drinking whiskey. You know, like that.
Yeah, that's great.
And I remember him saying the same thing. It was like an email, like, I don't know what you'd written. Like, and he's like, takes the most pretentious bit.
I can't remember anything specific, but that it's true. I mean, I think Hugh and I was very on the development between the two guys. Like, did he know that I knew that he knew? That kind of thing. Then we would come to the conclusion, you know what, we can't say this in this scene yet. We have to push that for the very last scene, because that is just too heavily indicating whatever. And so we were like detectives on that a lot together, and and Brian would understand right away and say, "You're absolutely right, we'll move it around, blah, blah, blah." So that was a lot of the job, description, I would say.
Yeah.
And then learn your lines.
Amazing. Okay, well, I think if the kind folks want to raise the lights, then we can all take a final picture together and call it on New York Comic Con's Hannibal panel. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, fans.